Their go button. Okay, hey everybody, Jen Barkin here, online sales coach with Convert. Welcome to Online People Talking, or OPT as we like to call it. This is the only series dedicated to you, the new home online sales specialist, where we'll talk about real life scenarios, successes, challenges, all for you to enhance your career. So thank you so much for joining us. We have a lot to talk about today, but before we introduce our first guest and get into it, I wanted to give you a couple of quick updates. We have our Online Sales Academy virtually coming up starting on October 9th and 10th. Jesse Suggs, Amanda Martin, and myself are going to be hosting this. And again, it is virtual. So if you are interested in attending, definitely go to the website, doyouconvert.com, check it out there. And if you're wondering who should attend this, it is for brand new online sales specialists who are new to the role, or if you've been in the role for a while, but maybe you need some more training, more structured processes put in place, this is definitely the event for you. The other thing I want to encourage all of you out there, this time of year, I start getting really sentimental. The nationals are coming up. So a couple of dates to keep in mind. October 6th is when you need to have your entry fee paid, application, like initial application in. And then October 23rd is when you have to have all of your credentials and supporting materials, your entry statement, all of that. So we always encourage you, this is your time to shine, apply, go for it. What do you have to lose? There's online salesperson of the year. There's online salesperson of the year if you've been in the role for a while. And then there's online sales team of the year as well. And there's actually online sales manager as well too. So you use the same application as the sales manager form as well. So definitely go do it, go check it out, go for it. You know, it's such a great time for you to highlight all of the success that you've had and all of the hard work that you do. Plus you get that hardware. So, okay, now I am excited to introduce our first guest today, the one and only Mike Lyon. And today we are calling him.
We have good news. Our other special guest has made it to the feed. So Jen was freaking out. We're all freaking out. But we are so good at doing Opt Live. We got her here. So everybody chat out if you're watching. Woo! Great job, Jen. You did it. But I'm just letting you know we got that. So we got our piece. So okay. And Jen, here, reintroduce me and we'll go again.
Okay. All right. Yes, this is live, folks. Authentic over perfect. Okay, our first guest today is the one and only Mike Lyon. And today he is wearing his TCPA compliance expert hat.
That's right.
We're gonna talk all about texting. So I know you all are here for that. If you are excited to talk about these new guidelines, comment, cheer, give some hearts. Mike, what are we seeing out there? What's happening?
Well, let me tell you what's happening. It's a real kerfuffle, folks. If you are having fun dealing with, actually, the 10 DLC registration is what's going on right now. That's caused everybody to get a little bit dusted up as it relates to texting and online sales.
Well, and if you're like me, I was like, what does 10 DLC stand for? Is this like a new band?
It's like for your numbers that you use a text. So I want to back out and just tell everybody what this is coming from. And then we're going to talk about how online sales specialists and builders can make sure they're staying in compliance as it's kind of written in the guidelines are out there right now. All right. So we want to simplify it. I want to calm everybody down. And I just want to let everybody know I'm not a lawyer. So check with the people who need to be checking on this stuff.
And here's my 2 cents on that. Just listen, do your due diligence. We can put some links in here for you to go check out and read these things for yourself. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is your responsibility to do that. Okay.
Absolutely. So as of September 1st, what you needed to do was, if you're using a platform like CallRail, if you guys are using CallRail, give us a thumbs up just so we know who's using it out there on this feed. A lot of our builder clients use that. If you're using a tool like that to text people, you needed to make sure that that number was registered with the campaign registry. And this was all put in place to reduce spam. So all very good things. We all hate spam. We hate those spam texts. We don't want to be a part of that. So by registering your number, they can monitor that closer and make sure you are staying in compliance, you are a real business, et cetera, et cetera. So when this happened, there also was a new set of guidelines that they kind of just snuck out there. And whenever we started making those shifts over, we were seeing other things that need to happen that were very similar to what you are used to in mass texting or SMS, where there's opt-out language and things like that. But it's starting to be required even when an individual is using a tool like CallRail to text. So we want to walk you through that piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
So first things first, if you have not registered at the campaign registry, make sure you register any number that are using to text. Like if you're using a text back and forth, your signature number or a number on the website, it has to be registered. In order for that to go through and get registered, you need to make sure that you have the consent on your form on your website. There's a lot of other guidelines too, but you got to have this little consent. Yes, please text me, and we'll talk about what's needed there. I'm showing it up on the screen. You've got to make sure that's on there too, because that's getting some people hung up in that. Jen, you gave us a finger.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is something we've learned in the last couple of weeks is you will not be approved and your texting will be like cut off.
Right.
Through CallRail, for example, if you don't have that web form updated with the checkbox. That's something that will deny you.
Yep. So make sure you go through that process, work with your marketing team and your web developer to get that done. And then obviously any submissions coming to the site that have that checked, you can text, you can do promotional texting, you can do transactional texting, you can do all of it, you're covered. But the real question everybody's asking is like, well, what about people who are just texting me directly from the website or texting me directly from my signature or reaching out to me? How do we stay compliant there? The good news is it's pretty simple. There's been the language and the guidelines are saying essentially you have implied consent for a reasonable period of time to text someone as long as you have opt-out language in place. And we'll talk you through what that looks like. So once your number is registered, there is opt-out keywords that you can use. And so when you start a brand new conversation with someone, you just need to make sure that you've got that opt-out language in there. And we'll show you what that looks like right here. More show and tell. If you like show and tell, chat out that you love show and tell. It's kind of hard to read here. But at the top, you've got that first outreach. And you said, if you'd like to no longer receive text messages from me, just please reply stop. When you hit stop, what's cool about this in the tools that you're using, or if you're using CallRail, you're going to get stop, right? And then what you don't see here is a response. So there's like an automatic opt-out response that says, I forget the exact language, Jen, but it's basically like you've been opted out.
I have it right here on my phone, and we can show you that other screenshot. But basically, we tested this out this morning, and when the customer says stop, you have successfully been unsubscribed. You will not receive any more messages from this number. Reply start to resubscribe. This is built into CallRail. That's what we tested it on today. And so you'll see here, I said start. Okay, I'm going to say start.
Vanna White. How's that going? P.S. You know what Vanna White makes?
No, I don't.
It's insane. Google that when you guys are done, or Google it now. Someone wants to link that article up.
I'm not good at. I would fail. I would fail. Okay, so we played with this, and can you flip it back to the other screen? So as the OSC, I tried to say thanks, and you'll notice right there, because the person had unsubscribed, it automatically says you can no longer text this number. And then back to the other screen, I said, start. Hey, and you have successfully been resubscribed. Yay. Awesome. Right. So then we can start texting again because they've now resubscribed back in. We even tested the help option, and it basically sent us another, opt out language like help here. You can opt out if you want to. So super simple and easy. We just want to make sure that you are using these tools. One thing in CallRail that, or any platform that you're using, if you set up just that quick send template, right? That's
Thank you,
in
Jen.
there.
Yeah.
Quick send template, you have it ready to go. And one of the questions that we have gotten, like, do we have to do this with every single text message that we're sending? We don't think so. We think it's just that initial one, right, Mike? Like that
I would
initial.
say for now, you're covered when it's transactional texting back and forth. You're covered. Right. If you're doing like appointment reminders or things like that, I would include that in the language, press,
Right.
Reply stop to end. So something just very simple like that as you're doing any other different types of messaging out there. Again, this is primarily for mass texting, SMS, which we're not really talking about that or right now. This is just for online sales. So
Right.
yeah, I think after that first message, you have that quick send template ready to go. You communicate to the customer and then you put that opt-out language in there. You should be covered. I think if you start a conversation again in 6 months for some reason or 5 months and it's a newer conversation, you notice that in CallRail, I don't think it's a bad idea to add it again just to make sure you're compliant. Again, these rules are probably going to shift and change. They shifted and changed in the last week as this has rolled out. So we're just monitoring that and watching it and making sure it's working for you. The other big thing you got to do is make sure that in your CRM, you're recording whether it opted in or opted out. So obviously if it comes through a form on your website, that'll be automatic. Make sure it works with your CRM and your website and your form. But if you're getting that consent, which if you read through the guidelines, which we'll link that up here, Jen, we got a couple of those things that they could read from CallRail. If you read through that, they say verbal consent, written consent, like text consent. So again, it's squishy. But if you're not spamming, you're going to be okay. And if you got opt-out tools in there, you're going to be okay. And if you register your number, you're going to be okay. And yes, you can still text. Worst case scenario, in the meantime, while you're sorting through this stuff, if for some reason you can't text, what can we always do, ladies and gentlemen? We can pick up the phone and we can call our prospects.
Oh, wait.
The phone still works.
This is the new. Yeah.
So that's what's going on there. If this is working, if you guys are dealing with this right now, we want to see in the chat. If you've got it set up, everybody say I'm compliant if you're compliant, or say working on it. We got a lot of you on stream, and I just want to see how many of you guys are making it through this okay and unscathed and still with your sanity intact. It's been a lot of emails back and forth, hasn't it, Jen?
Oh my goodness, yes. But listen, we want to always bring you, what we know, and make sure that you guys have what you need out there. One thing that we didn't mention though, too, Mike said, when in doubt, always just pick up the phone and call. If this is something new that you're adding, like where you're just getting that consent form added to your website, like this is a new thing, then be really careful about going back to, prospecting older leads that had never opted in for texting, things like that. So, sometimes we're doing that. We're prospecting, we're following up on text messages and things like that. So it's probably not a good idea to go back too far and be doing that. Just pick up the phone and call, but anything moving forward, you're fine.
Yeah. Gina, great question. She's asking what happens if they opt out from getting text. We'll call real block. Yes, they're in that image that we showed before of that, or that example that was set up. You can try and text, but it'll come up red. It says they've opted out. So there's nothing, even if they try and text you inbound, it's not going to work. So in that situation, if for some reason they've opted out before and they're trying to text again, you just have to pick up the phone and call.
Yeah.
That would be the best thing to do.
Or you can send them that, to continue or to text or whatever, they've got to opt in, that they've got to opt back in, or they've got to start.
Greg's like, Canada's had these regulations for years. Great job. And that's why we've all been so miserable, Greg, with these spam texts, right? But no spamming here. We're going to be good to go. Stay tuned. If there's any kind of changes or updates, we'll be sure to we'll let you know.
And we'll
include, this is super fun.
We'll include those articles in the comment section so that you can make sure that you go and read through that information as well. But it's really, it seems like a lot, especially when there's a change, everybody, you freak out a little bit, but it's really, it's fine. It's okay. Like, and I don't, and this is mainly just don't spam. Like don't mass text and spam and promotional and do all that stuff. So, as long as you're not doing that, you're going to be completely A-okay. All right.
Okay.
Let's have some fun.
The one and only.
Yeah, let's have some fun. Mike,
Okay.
can you
Martha, who are we bringing up? And I'll do the introduction.
Yes.
Or Jen, tell us.
Yes. So, one of the OG online sales specialists, when I was back in the day, when I was in the seat of online sales, she was in the seat as well. And we became instant friends. And so I'm so excited to have her on Op today. Mike, please introduce the one and only Martha Clifford.
I get to work with her. I've been working with her since she's a day oneer, 2-time silver award nationals winner. And she also won the promoter award at one of our first conferences. Remember that?
I do remember that.
She is amazing. Why did she win that promoter award, Martha? Because you give back to this community, whether you want to or not. She's like the resource, right? If you guys look at this, Laura's saying Martha's the GOAT.
We love Martha.
We love Martha. Martha's the best. Look at all this love, Martha, coming in, streaming in. And she figured out how to hack the system and get online. So she is here. Martha, we're so excited to have you.
Thank you. It almost didn't happen today.
That's right. But you did it. You're here.
It's a normal day as online salesperson.
That's right. All right. I'm going to let Jen interview because she's better interviewing. But Martha, I just want to look you in the eyeballs and let you know how awesome you are. I think you know that, but I want to make sure you know that from me, from the heart. It's been such a joy to work with you. You have to retire from online sales or go out with a torn Achilles like Aaron Rodgers. One way or another, you got to just stay in this role forever.
That's rough.
That's rough.
Oh,
I ain't going nowhere.
Thanks, TCPA compliance officer Martha. Oh my gosh. How are you doing, friend?
I'm here. I was by the seat of my pants.
Breathe, right? Were you a little sweaty trying to navigate the tech?
No, actually, you know what? This was so much better because I couldn't even think about the fact that I was coming on here, that I was just trying to get connected. Right. So here we are.
You weren't even worried. No. Who cares? It's live. No big deal. Hey, that's what we do in online sales. We just figured it out, right? We figured it out. So what are your thoughts as an OG on the whole texting situation?
I mean, it's another fire drill. I figured it was coming at some point. I just didn't know when or what. Mm-hmm. I don't text a whole lot. I mean, I text a lot, but appropriately. So I'm never spamming people anyway. So it wasn't, a huge concern of ours. I mean, we've done everything you guys have asked. It's changed daily. I don't know. We'll see.
So you're compliant. You're compliant. You've done your due diligence.
We're almost compliant. We still have to do a few things on our website. I even had our director of sales added to one of our registration forms. We have it in Lasso. So, we've done everything we can until there's something new to do again.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we are done talking about texting, folks. So, Martha, when I first met you, do you remember that 2015 national?
Denver? No. I met you before that.
Yeah, I met you at the Nationals. I think was the first time, right? And then we met in Denver at the first online sales and marketing summit. So I get all emotional and sentimental this time of year. And when I think about how long you've been in the seat, I said, Martha is such a wealth of knowledge. Let's have her on. Let's have her talk through some things. So one of the first questions I have for you is, what are you hearing? I mean, you've seen every market. And how long, just for people that don't maybe know you, how long have you been in the seat as an online sales specialist?
11 and a half years.
11 and a half years. Holy cow. You and Elena. So you've seen lots of different markets. What are you hearing right now from customers? What is the vibe in your market?
I mean, interest rates, of course. We're fortunate enough to be in a market where there's barely like a month's supply of homes on the market right now.
Okay.
So, and people are getting 102% of the list price of their houses. So there's not enough inventory. There's articles upon articles about all of this. So, we thought it got really quiet when the rates went up to 5. And then a week later, people forgot about that. I think our biggest challenge is just educating buyers that waiting for the rates to come down may not necessarily be their best move in this market, because most likely pricing is going to stay or even creep up. So we're just trying to, educate our buyers that are active and ready. But we've been busy, and honestly, our awesome rockstar sales team hit their sales goal for the year already. So
Wow. That makes things
we have
feel
a
moving into
personal
Q4.
we have a team sales goal that we're working towards that's above and beyond the company one, but we hit the goal, I think, this week. So
Fantastic. What have you had to shift your process or anything, like navigating this challenge, this interest rate? Like, have you done anything different to overcome that or shift that or pivot it or?
and just, be knowledgeable about what's going on in the market. I mean, believe me, I don't like to talk numbers, like with people, and all that stuff is too much for me. But knowing, enough about the market you're working in, speaking to your preferred lender, knowing what the rates are, being able to educate your buyer on why it may be better to do something now than later, is like very powerful. And for our sales team to do that, so then when they come out on appointment, they're echoing the same thing that I said. So we don't have enough inventory right now. So people that are secure with their jobs and other things are going to buy the home now and fix the rate later.
Well, I love something that you just said I wanted to highlight is that, yeah, you're not going down this rabbit hole of like figuring out pricing or monthly payments or financing. Like, no, we don't want to do that in online sales land. But what you said, I think, is so smart is go educate yourself, talk to your lender. Like, go talk to your lender and be like, what are some good things to say? What do I need to know as an online sales specialist that's on the front line, that's talking with customers to get them out, to get them to move forward, to even feel a little bit more certain about coming out and checking out the homes and getting the information. That's really, I think, what we need to focus on right now in online sales. Just get them to even come out and look and think about it, right? So I love that you said that. Now, like Mike said, you have been one of the biggest advocates for just the online sales role, the position, the impact that it can have on builders. So what have you seen has been the biggest change in this position since you started your career?
Well, there's teams now. I mean, there's teams of people. I think that, the role has gained more street credit. It's not like a luxury to have. It's a necessity for your builder to have. And then the job changes from market to market. Like 1 minute we're putting out fires, then it's like too many leads, then it's not enough leads. So you have to be able to just go with the flow. And, like this call rail stuff this week, that's getting on this webinar, or on this call, everything's like always like last minute, fix it type thing. So,
Yeah.
The thing that it's just that more and more builders have online sales counselors now, and it's not just like the junk drawer position of the organization, so, it really impacts the bottom line of your sales for the year.
Yeah, for sure. And, we're seeing still, despite, Martha, all the changes, in the last, I was just working on something for our sales and marketing summit that's coming up. And we look at conversions and metrics over since 2019, really, with all the changes that have happened since 2019, those conversion metrics are strong. Like that's consistent. I always talk about online sales is the consistent in the equation. We're the constant. There's lots of other variables, right, that are out there, like you're talking about: price, interest rates, salespeople,
But it's like the
technology.
most transparent job in the company. It's the most, I like the accountability of it. There's never a day you can't say I did XYZ to make this happen. Or, I mean, if you're not doing it, the numbers will show that. But if you are and doing it well and consistently, I mean, what are you gonna
Okay, so
show?
you welcome. So I want to talk about this a little bit. You're saying you welcome the accountability that the transparency of this job brings. So as somebody that's been doing this a long time, where some could say, you know, I'm good, like I don't, like, don't bother me, I'm doing my thing, you know, I don't need to be held accountable. You're saying you welcome the accountability. So talk a little bit about that. What do you mean?
Well, I just mean like it would be real clear real quickly if I wasn't doing my job. The numbers would just show that. And I'm a competitor by nature, so I like making lists. I like checking off things. So, even if it's really myself I'm being accountable to be honest, but it's just like, all right, I made 5 extra phone calls today. I did this, things that directly impact like your sales goals for the year. You
Yeah.
can prove it on paper, not this just like, oh, maybe I did this or that. It's actual things that can be proven by data. Even call rail, you can see in call rail. Were you making calls? Were you missing calls? All this stuff. I mean, so were you doing your emails? Were you doing this? And the appointments, people wouldn't be coming out and converting to sales if you weren't doing your job.
Yeah.
So I think that's super important. I like it. So
Do you think your former athlete is the reason why you are that way? How do you feel like coachability comes into that?
I mean, doing sports in my previous life definitely is a lot of who I am now. It's a lot of why, coachability is an interesting subject. I mean, Mike is my coach, and he will hold me to the fire when needed.
Right.
He will push me outside of my comfort zone to think about different things and not just the day-to-day things, like bigger picture things.
Right.
So, that aspect is great. I think in this role, you have to be coachable. You have to be disciplined. You have to, discipline, is number one. Because if you're not doing the same things, the little things that are seem boring and mundane every day, you're not going to see long-term success.
Yeah.
You just
And
won't.
I know you're big on picking up the phone and calling people. I can remember that, just even back in the day, learning from you when I was in OSC. I mean, I can remember you always being like, just got to pick up the phone and call them. Like, don't be afraid to do that. So is that still your philosophy?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, nothing has changed with the structure of this job. Is very simple at nature. And if you do it well and consistently every day, you will see results. But if you, I've seen some people really excel at certain things, like maybe it's video or certain things or social media or all these little things, but they get real excited about this position for 2 weeks at a time, like gangbusters, and then crickets. And so, and then they're like, well, what's going on? And, so you have to show up every day, every day, whether you like it or not. And it's doing the little things like keeping your CRM updated, fixing things in it, updating things, those little things, there's days where it's like, oh, I don't want to add this new community they're interested in into the questions, but you have to, because you need to find that person 2 years from now when they want to buy a house 2 towns over. So, I'm very, very disciplined about that. And I'm sure my director of sales, who's probably on this call, will know I'm very animated with this about the sales team has to do it 100% of the time. And that's how we are all successful together.
Love it. What do you think is the biggest misconception out there about the online sales specialist role?
That you're just an appointment setter. You just pick up the phone and somebody wants to come out, which can be true. On some days you'll get that one call for the other 20 calls that you make that, are I've made appointments for people I was talking to for 3 years. In fact, actually a couple sales ago, I was looking at how long they were in the CRM, and it was like 8 years. Like not
Wow.
till the first appointment, but like they've
Yeah.
been with us that long. So, I think it's just that it's that easy to set appointments. And I don't think people realize you're kind of like triage for customers. You're like, okay, what's wrong? Where do you need to go?
Right.
Where do you want to be? Or that you're problem solving, you're prospecting, not just taking calls, and that you're essentially almost like a quarterback for all the leads in your company. You're
Heck yeah. I like to think of you as like the goalkeeper, the goalie. You're
Yeah.
like the most important, part. Now, how is for online sales specialists, how do you overcome that misconception? What do you think? Like, how do we overcome that? How do we turn that misconception around?
prove your worth, first of all, in your company. The numbers will show it if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. From whatever level. It doesn't matter if it's your 30% contribution could be amazing versus maybe it was only 20 the year ago. As long as you're always doing something to, progress that, and, show people what you're doing, show people the numbers. Because that's the one thing you can't really hide, like you can't hide behind,
Like, don't just assume they understand. Like,
Yes.
communicate what you're working on. Talk about the prospecting that you did. Like, hey, I called 300 people this month, and this was the results that we got. And communicate.
And track all of that. Like, most people should be doing that anyway, but just show what you're doing. Show your worth to the company. Show your worth to your sales team. Show how you can help them sell more homes. Do that with your realtors and anyone. It's endless. You probably got into the job in the first place because you wanted to help people. Most OSCs I know, that's.
Why do you still, 11 and a half years later, why do you still do what you do?
I literally am like just passionate about it. I love helping people. I love problem solving. I don't know. I don't know what else, it fulfills like probably like the closest thing I could like say to when I like did gymnastics and competed, like not against anybody else, but like for myself. It has that you have to get up and do the certain things every day. There's like consistency with it. It's consistently always changing, but the day is always the same. And, the goal at the end of the day is to make appointments and convert leads to sales. So that's never changed. But how we get there, that changes every week. It's like this week, it's like, don't text people. Next week, it'll be like.
So advice for a newbie starting out.
You're going to have to be passionate about the job. I would say the one thing that paralyzed me at first was that I used to be so type A, and it was like perfection. I'd get paralyzed. And, I think it's better to have the passion over like polish of things. Sometimes just being the first to make the phone call is better than like thinking about, the phone call so much. So I've learned that. I would say you're going to have to work hard. If you really want to truly see the success of it, it's not mostly the glamorous job because you're behind the scenes a lot of times, doing a lot of stuff to get, like a hamster in a wheel to pursue like all these amazing results, but you have to do it over and over and over. So, be prepared to work. And you really have to be passionate about it, because if you're not, you're going to burn out right away. And we see that a lot in this job. I think it looks more glamorous than it does, because they're like, oh, there's that person's picture on the website. You're like, okay, well,
you gotta work hard. You gotta have hustle for sure. That is definitely you. Okay, now that's newbie advice. What about an OG, somebody that has been in this role a long time? What would your advice be?
Again, back to the passion, continue to find it like daily in whatever you're doing. Find a way to contribute not only to your company, but to the industry, to your peers, because I know there's like so many of these awesome people around me, the OGs, which means like gangster, not like granny. So,
hey, fun fact, Martha does like old school rap, just like me, where she's,
come on. Like
come on.
Tupac.
If you like old school rap, chat it out. Give us some love.
I mean, I'm fortunate enough. I've been around you an elite level of online sales counselors for a long time now. Like Elena, Barb, I could name countless more people, and but like it's an amazing industry to be a part of. I think as long as you're finding daily passion in what you do and you're able to somehow, like I said, impact your company first, and then the industry, like giving back and sharing stuff with other people. I've spoken to so many online sales counselors across the country that I may have never met in person, but I helped like start their online sales programs and things like that. So I mean,
that is, I just love that about you, because I think at some point you reach a certain part in your career and you're like, okay, like what's next? Giving back and mentoring another person is, how you have filled your cup in that way.
But it's like home building. It's never the same day every day. It's chaos going on. I mean, if you work for a great company, it's easy, which I do. So that's what makes it easy.
Yeah. Okay. Last question. Burning question I have. So are you going to give nationals another go? I mean,
that almost sounds like a challenge, but
that's why I phrased it that way, because I'm challenging you to do this because I think you should. Don't you think she should, everybody? Like, come on, give nationals another go. You were 2-time silver award. Okay, here comes Mike.
Yes.
2-time silver award winner. I'm thinking
Susan Lucci.
The Susan
Lucci Award.
Susan Lucci of nationals.
Come on, let's go.
She's doing it. Everybody cheer her on. Let her know. We're coming in. It's streaming in. We're gonna do a fan poll. Is that what we do, or the People's Choice Award? Let's do that.
I mean, I should have a good story to tell about. At this point, it's been a decade, so
yeah. Well, we cannot. Thank you so much, Martha. Come on. I mean, you are absolutely just fantastic, and we appreciate you so much here at Do You Convert, because, like I said, you're out there just talking the good talk about online sales. You are such an advocate, and we appreciate you so much. And I can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks at our summit. Yes, you have been every year, right?
Perfect attendance.
Perfect attendance. Oh my gosh, we cannot wait to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Mike, for coming on and talking through the texting. For all of the latest information, definitely check out doyouconvert.com for blogs, resources, all that free training for you is on there, and also Market Proof Marketing Podcast, of course. And we will see you next time on Online People Talking.
Thanks, Martha.
Thank you, guys.
Nailed it.